Holy fuck, Section 31 is bad though. Oh my god.
Have you have we been on air since no, because it's been 2 weeks. Yeah, after intros, let's do we want to mention section 31?
Oh
Because
hell
I'm never
yes.
gonna watch it, so we should. Okay.
Lazor Comb.
We are not going to panic.
What the heck even happened to you, man?
Vengeance.
Shrimp Daddy! Ha 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 ha!
Give him a hockey stick!
What am I, fucking magician, man?
Am I some kind of fucking magician, man?
Fucking nerd!
Whatever. It's not like we're professionals anyway.
And I'm not sorry anymore.
Time to big brain.
Every day, yes.
What is the airwolf of trains?
Greetings and salivations, Lazor Comians. Welcome to episode 109 of the Lazor Comb podcast, the show where two gentlemen comb through classic television with a fine-tooth Lazor.
Lazor.
Lazor. I am one of your hosts, Ensign Cal, and I am joined by the prestigious, was it
Commander.
Lieutenant General? Oh, Commander. That's right, Commander Siege.
Commander Siege, and you know I'm a commander.
Oh, I should have counted the blips.
Because I got 3 command pips on my Star Trunk jacket.
Well, what if I put like 4 push pins on mine?
Then you're a captain.
Then I'm a captain. But today I'm just Unabomber.
Say, take me to the captain and tell him why I'm here.
I thought that would make me look cool, but it doesn't.
I want to talk some Star Trek, because the
Look
real
like
world
I'm ready to,
fucking sucks.
like I came out of like I'm ready to, you know, those like weird like robes the boxers come out
Yeah.
like wearing. That's what I'm wearing.
I'm just imagining you coming out to like Kurt Angle's music, like
that is so fucking weird. In my head, I just heard like I fucking heard Kurt Angle's music. Yeah, that's it. I was doing the Rocky. Yeah, iconic. I was doing Rocky, but I was thinking it's weird. Maybe it's an ADHD thing, but I was hearing Kurt Angle's music, but then I started doing Rocky music.
It's almost gone now, but I have a truly Star Trek looking beverage.
He's got some synthahol, like, or is that fucking Romulan ale?
Romulan ale, which I always thought.
I remember the Star Trek.
For the audio listeners, the beverage that I have is blue, but it's what it actually is it's carbonated water from my soda stream with some Mio water enhancer squirted into it.
That would save me so much money. I need to get one of those.
But it's a very sci-fi, it's a very Star Trek looking drink right now.
Mm-hmm. In a plain clear glass.
Yeah,
and
clear glass that it's kind of Star Trek-y.
Yeah, kind of looks like something they'd have at the mess hall. Yeah, we're on the final episode of Star Trunk Month. Star Trunk II, The Search for Boogaloo, is drawing its conclusion, and we may find Captain Boogaloo in Star Trek Lower Decks. But before we get into our breakdown of how we felt about Lower Decks,
Yes.
a recent Star Trek piece of media has been consumed by one of your hosts, and it was not me. And in fact, I feel like I was spared. You may recall from a few episodes ago, we were covering, not a few episodes ago, like last episode. I recall saying, weird that they focus on Section 31 so much, like the most boring part of the Star Trek verse. Like, you have a whole galaxy, more than a whole galaxy. You have alternate dimensions, you have timelines.
Not even just the most boring part, but also the part about Star Trek that is completely antithetical to what Star Trek is.
Yes, the elusive man, the Cerberus of Star Trek.
This like peaceful, diplomatic space utopia, but like, and meanwhile we're going to insert some like covert ops team who like gets their hands dirty and commits like political assassinations and things.
Isn't
like
that exciting? No, you want to see like starship battles? Well, fuck you. But I'm sure the Section 31 movie, of which that I totally knew existed until people told me that it did, was riveting. It was the Star Trekiest of Treks, I believe.
I was actually in the process of watching, just before we started recording, I was watching YouTuber Jessie Gender. I was watching her review of Section 31, which I got about halfway through it, and I was quite enjoying it. So people...
that's what you shared, yeah.
People go...
I like long-form content.
Yeah, her review is like 49 minutes, and like I said, I got about halfway through it, and already I highly recommend it. I like Jessie Gender as a content creator. In the world of Star Trek, everybody always has their favorite and least favorite movies.
Fair, yeah.
Favorites, top contenders for favorites are usually Wrath of Khan, Undiscovered Country, Voyage Home, First Contact. Those are kind of most people what most Trekkies would consider their favorite Star Trek movies, I think.
Yeah.
But the placement of them kind of varies from person to person. Like, personally, I would put Undiscovered Country above Wrath of Khan. Controversial.
It's about to throw hands with some.
And
I like Wrath of Khan, but it's one of those things where I went back to watch it, and I'm like, you know what? I'm gonna watch Wrath of Khan, and it's like it's pretty. It's good. Yeah. But it's not like 10 out of 10 cinema. Like
it's a submarine movie, basically.
Oh yeah. I think you've told me that before. Yeah, it's like the hunt for Red October in space.
Yeah, it's a submarine movie. It just happens to be spaceships instead of submarines.
Space.
And it's quite riveting in that sense. But yeah, and people's least favorite movies, Star Trek movies, are always like, the top contenders are like always like Star Trek V, Star Trek Nemesis, Star Trek Insurrection. Well, the good news is there doesn't really need to be a debate anymore amongst anyone about what is the worst Star Trek movie.
Oh, no one's going out there defending
because
Section 31. Huh?
Section 31 exists. And holy bejesus, it is the absolute worst fucking thing to ever bear the Star Trek name.
Wow.
This movie's existence...
I wasn't going to watch it, so I don't care if you give spoilers.
This movie's existence is an absolute fucking insult to Star Trek.
Damn. And that's... oh, man. Yeah, that's... I feel like a lot of critics of things feel like they can't say anything bad about certain things if they have beloved actors in them, but an actor does not make a movie.
Right
A writer does not make a movie. an animator does not make a movie. It's the what's it called? The whole of its part that the it's the
Teamwork
entirety.
makes the dream work.
Teamwork makes the Spock work.
Yeah.
So what's something that was good in it? Like what? Like effects, cinematography? Is there a hot musical number? Feel like that would
Some
have
of the
helped.
acting's pretty good.
Okay.
Even
There
from
you
some of
go.
the cast members I've never like seen or heard of before. Like most of them are doing a pretty good job.
Okay, so there's that.
There's that.
All right, cool.
And that's it.
And that's what I've heard. I've heard they were like, preface, this person's is doing as best they can in the role that they were given. The supporting actors from like this, and this actor are like great. Now moving on. And then it's like,
Yeah, the actors weren't quite able to make chicken salad out of chicken shit, but you can tell they tried.
I've seen a few movies where it's like, oh goddamn, imagine if these actors were
Actually given a good script.
given a good script. Yeah. I hear it's pretty it seems to me like it sounds like you did not enjoy your time with Section 31.
It is a even shittier Suicide Squad than David Ayer's 2016 Suicide Squad movie, which is quite shitty.
That is shocking to hear and hard to believe.
I would say you find out for yourself and watch it, but no, I can't. I actually can't.
I've never
recommend.
seen Suicide Squad.
Oh, there you go. I cannot, in good conscience, recommend Star Trek 31 to absolutely anyone. It is just horrendous.
I've seen the Suicide Squad.
Yeah,
which
that
I
one's
thought
not
was-
too bad.
I thought it was pretty fun.
Yeah.
I thought it was funny. Like it was like I thought the humor like landed.
Oh, I guess you probably watched it because of the Peacemaker connection, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're folks. We're both big fans of the show Peacemaker. Which the second that thing gets canceled, which I'm sure it's going to after season 2 drops, because it's already been like
It's going to be 35 seconds after it premieres that it's going to announce that it's canceled.
And as soon as that announcement comes, boy howdy, do I want to do I want to cover it on this show?
Yeah.
Which I mean, we'd be giving our review of it, like our thoughts on it. We'd be giving it away like right out of the gate because we both really like that show. But
Yeah, I got what was it on? It was on HBO. No, not HBO Max.
yeah, it was a Max.
Was it a Max
Series?
I specifically
So we
I either got yours or I got it just for a month to watch. Peacemaker.
so here it was available on Crave as
it was Crave, right?
as not all but most of the HBO and Max content goes to Crave. Canadian media rights licensing is kind of a fascinating mess, but I'm not going to get into that on the show here. But I've definitely, if you join the Discord, link in the description, I've definitely like gone into great detail about it before because it's something that I find weirdly fascinating. In a magician kind of way.
The layman term is autistic interest. Some people have trains. Some people have Magic the Gathering. Some people have Transformers named Jeremy.
Yeah.
And some people have Canadian media rights.
Yeah. It's just something that I like just find like really fascinating for one reason or another.
My magician specialty is Elder Scroll knowledge.
Yeah.
Yeah. So if I scroll up in Morrowind, they ain't calling me no Enwa. Somebody told me that Enwa was just them like shorthand for N word.
What?
And I was like, you don't know what corner you've like backed this wild animal into, man. Are you ready? Are you ready for like a lore dump?
Yeah,
Unlike
I've never.
Dunmer, like politics and like
Yeah,
slang,
I
because you're
yeah,
not ready for it.
I've never heard that before, and I would have
It's,
never made that connection, honestly.
yeah, it's slang in the Morrowind games for Outlander. Somebody
Yeah,
not from Morrowind. That's
yeah.
it.
You Enwa.
It was like, I'm watching you, scum. Fucking Morrowind, man. I tried to go back and play it.
It's unplayable by today's standards. It
It is. I'm sorry, and I loved it. Don't get me wrong.
honestly, it was unplayable by like 15 years ago's standards. Like that game aged like milk, unfortunately. For me, anyway. I know a lot. That game still has a lot of
It
fans,
took
but
a learning curve to even play it in like the 2000s. Um, but I did, and I stuck with it for a while, and I explored it quite a bit. But like, yeah, 10 years ago, if you had ventured into it, yeah, give it 15 minutes, I
yeah.
say.
Oblivion, I would say, is still playable, but it's getting pretty long in the tooth now.
I and again, big fan of Elder Scrolls, right? Was never Oblivion fan when it was out.
Oh,
I
I
only
loved
really
Oblivion right away.
appreciate Oblivion in its wonkiness post years.
Once the memes started coming out.
Once the memes, the meme teams really started pumping it out. But I still have a few hundred hours in Oblivion.
I saw some mud crabs the other day. Vile, dastardly creatures. Good day to you.
Don't speak to me.
What is it, citizen? Oh, it's you. Hi.
I do remember though, and that's this one thing. Elder Scrolls rants aside, um, the faction quests felt way more fleshed out. Like you spend like 2 hours in a faction quest in Skyrim, and you're the leader,
Right.
which kind of felt like, oh no, it didn't they never felt earned. You can be like a barbarian build and like become like head of the mages guild. So
Yeah.
it, I don't know, it just
by
felt
just
very
doing
like,
by doing 12 tasks for them, basically.
yeah, and I'm like, you have led me to believe that I'm the chosen one. Uh and I've been here for 4 days and everyone else has been here for years or decades. And I don't know, in that sense, Skyrim almost felt like certain factions were rushed or a lot of content was dropped
Mm.
because it felt very theme parkish. As in, you paid for it, and then it's like, oh, come along, and it's like an experience. And at the end of the day, it's like you become a Jedi, and it's for like little kids, and you're like, yeah, I'm a Jedi. Cats, hello,
Yeah,
you have
there
things to say.
something going on with them.
There's something going on with kitties. Anyways, that's my rant. That's my special interest. And
So to get back to section 31 real quick, and then we'll move on to lower decks. So section 31 starts off with a flashback to Philippa Giorgio, character from Star Trek Discovery, played by Michelle Yeoh, which I maintain the only reason this movie exists is they were trying to capitalize on her winning an Oscar a couple of years ago for Everything
yeah,
Everywhere All at Once. I think that's the only reason this like spin-off starring her exists. So we get a flashback to her as like a young woman in the Mirror universe, and she becomes Empress of the Terran Empire by basically winning the Hunger Games,
as one does.
as one does.
Wait, what?
Yeah,
So, okay, anyways, yeah.
it's stupid. Just like the movie. Just like the rest of the movie.
But Mirror Universe, her is young when this happened.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah, played by a
okay.
different actress because she's probably around 20 or so. But the bulk of the movie is set. It's kind of nebulous, but it's set somewhere in what's known as the Lost Era in Star Trek. It's the time between the last. It's the time between like the last original cast movie and the Next Generation TV, the start of the Next Generation TV show. It's about a period of about 60 or 70 years that hasn't really been explored in Trek canon at all. So this movie is
so there was a blank slate that they could move things into.
Yeah, you'd think more if they were going to do like prequel Star Trek stuff, you'd think more stuff would be set during that time, but hey, what do I know? And basically the movie is about Michelle Yeoh's character who has a super weapon. They literally call it a super weapon. It's basically
Why
it's
do they do
basically
that so much in Trek?
it's basically it looks like a Nintendo GameCube.
Maybe it is.
Even has a little handle on it.
Maybe it's the last Nintendo GameCube.
And it's some kind of doomsday weapon that's going to like make the entire universe go boom.
I'm sorry, I love you, Star Trek, but you've done this so many times. Can you fuck off? Like, didn't Nero in the fucking the new Trek movies, like, didn't that guy have like some super weapon from the future?
Well,
Why
he
does
had
everyone have
he had a powerful ship from the future.
So not quite a make galaxy go boom.
But they did have the quote red matter.
But that was in the next one, wasn't it?
No, that was in the 2009 one because it was on Spock's shuttle. He had it because he was going to try and use it to turn.
You can make a planet into like a black hole. You can collapse it and.
Yeah, the star surrounding Romulus was like going supernova, and he was going to use the red matter to turn it into a black hole. I don't know why that's better than a star going supernova, because either way, every planet in that solar system is fucked. But hey,
I can tell you why.
Oh, okay.
My other special interest is space, the final frontier. Was it a binary star system or a single star system?
I think it's a single star system.
Oh, well, then they wouldn't have the sun, and that would kill all the life on the planet. But theoretically, the Schwarzschild radius is how much of any one thing can be compressed down into to become a black hole. So a star collapsing into a black hole is less explosive to all the planets orbiting it. And indeed, when a star becomes a black hole, its mass is the same. So the orbits would actually remain the same. But if it's a single star system and you don't have the light for the plants to photosynthesis, then your planet's gonna freeze and then you're shit out of luck.
I mean, I guess conceivably, like collapsing the star into a black hole, I guess it might give them more time to evacuate.
It would give you more time to evacuate.
So I guess that
I don't know how much, because going from some starlight to none, that's limited. But you could like survive in engineered habitats.
Yeah.
But whereas at supernova, everything's just fucked.
The sci-fi in those J.J. Abrams movies is quite dumb,
quite credible, right? And I'm not asking for perfection. We're Star Trek fans. Like you just bada bing, bada boom. You say something about a gravitational anomaly, and I'm like, yeah,
it works. It checks out.
Believable to me. But when you over-explain, this happens a lot in Star Trek in general, or the bad parts of Trek. When you over-explain, but then you make mistakes, don't do that. It's better to just say you're relaying like the signal from the shields to bounce back and amplify a radio signal so that you're able to send a message. It's like, yeah, sure. Yeah, you use the shield energy to make the message go through the nebula.
Yeah,
Right.
what we what could work is if we divert all
I knew you
auxiliary
were going to
power
say this.
to the forward deflector dish. We could create sort of a subspace beam that could shoot a communication field through subspace through the nebula.
And what made you win that was saying subspace.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so that's how you're able to get the distress signal out of the nebula.
Yeah.
That's all we ask for, folks.
Yep.
Yeah.
There's none of that really in section 31. It's like I said, it's shitty suicide. It's an even shittier Suicide Squad with some Star Trek terminology. Like,
that's so hard for me to picture, because Suicide Squad, it's like Harley, and then this guy, and then Shark Boy, and it's like, all right, here's our all-star cast, and it's like, does it do that with the characters? Does it have like title cards with like slow motion and like effects and?
Yes, almost.
What?
Not title cards on screen, but when we're introduced to a character, we're introduced to characters through a voiceover montage, being like, oh, we got blah blah. He's one of the biggest scoundrels in the blah blah sector, and the character will be in a bar or something, and you'll see them turn around and they'll look at the camera. Camera will freeze frame and zoom in on them.
Freeze frame and then like zoom in. Does the camera spin around them a little bit?
Doesn't do that.
Oh, Suicide Squad 1, Section 31-0.
But I shit you not, they do that in this fucking movie.
Oh no. Okay. Yeah.
It's shitty Suicide Squad with
okay,
some Star.
So they're gathering a team, is what it.
Yeah, some Star Trek bullshit thrown in there, and not even good Star Trek bullshit.
I'm gonna throw something at my cats. Stand by.
Also, we have one of the characters is a character who we were introduced to in an episode of Star Trek: The Next Generation, played by a different actress, but who was in the episode Yesterday's Enterprise, who was the captain of the Enterprise C. For some reason, a younger version of her, is a character in this movie. Don't really know why. Doesn't tie into anything.
But why?
But why, exactly. Anyway, terrible fucking movie. I'm offended that it exists.
It sounds like it. Yeah. So offended that sounds like you're done with even. Sounds like not much happens beyond. What did you said? Your what was it? Letterbox? What's that? It was like, I like how short your reviews for things are.
Yeah, Letterbox.
Yeah, it was like was it James Bond or Mission Impossible? Or what was the thing it was like trying to do, like Ocean's 11, or it was trying to, can't even remember what you had said on it, but I was like, oh
yeah, I started posting on Letterbox again.
Yeah.
It had been a few years. I actually looked. I hadn't done anything on the site since 2022. But every time I watch a new movie now, which I've committed to watching at least 50 2025 movies this year, I'm going to write like a little blurb about all of them on Letterboxd, and I'll share it on the Discord.
There you go. We have a Discord.
Yeah, link in the description. Anyway.
All right, on to you. Mention what episode we're doing, and I'm strangling a cat.
So on this final installment of TRONK II, The Search for Boogaloo, we are reviewing Star Trek Lower Decks. I've been excited to get to this one. We are reviewing the third episode of Season 3, Mining the Mind's Mines, which originally streamed on September 8th of 2022. Yes.
So for those of you that, I don't know why you'd be watching us, this series of episodes in particular, but it is animated.
Yep.
And I will say I really like the style. I don't know how to describe it. It's just aesthetically pleasing. Clear line art, minimal shading.
Yeah, it's got almost kind of like a Rick and Morty style of animation, but not quite.
But like, yeah, and less like extreme in the body sizes, but like Simpsons meets, yeah, like, or like Family Guy and like Rick and Morty, but without the crazy squiggly eye like thing.
Yeah. And the animation style, like it actually does a pretty good job. In the case of Boimler and Mariner in particular, it does a really good job of actually like kind of capturing what the actors who voice them look like.
Yeah. Yeah, and you know what? They're pretty expressive. Like by less is more sometimes with animation. And boy, do they do a really decent, like you can watch any, this might be tipping my hand a little bit, but you can watch any episode of this and get a feel for what each of the characters represent, which
Hmm.
I think is important to make a an impression on the Laser Comb hosts, since we are watching a random episode.
Yeah, all the characters in the show are really pronounced.
Yes.
They're really pronounced, but not in an obnoxious kind of way. They're pronounced in a way that like
Which it could have been the case.
could
It
have
could have been
been.
a Rick and Morty.
They're pronounced in the sense that like you can anytime like very quickly anytime they come into a scene like you kind of know what they're all about,
Yeah,
which in the case of like say a 22-minute animated show I think works really well.
it does. And indeed, we even get a deeper dive. This is kind of lucky that we landed on this one, because the gist of this is that there are magic green glowing rocks that when you go near them, they project a fantasy in real life. And if you interact with the fantasy, you get turned to stone.
They look like materia orbs,
I was thinking that, but really big.
but
Yeah.
really big. Yeah. And I've been playing Final Fantasy VII Rebirth recently because it just came out on PC finally. So immediately as soon as I see these like glowing green
Yeah.
orbs I'm like materia.
Is that life materia? What are the green?
The green ones, I can't remember what they call it, but it's like the spell casting materia, like
Right,
fire,
right.
thunder,
It's been a
cure.
while since I Earth. What the fuck is that? Can't remember. I'll look it up later. But yeah, they've got this materia. But there's another ship that's nearby, and
I like the fantasy that this like one researcher gets. He's like, "Oh, it's you're my seventh grade like blah blah teacher," and
oh, who was that? Was that oh, it's the guy that dies at the beginning.
it's the guy that dies at the beginning. Yeah,
I really like that. That is a great opening. Okay, yeah.
yeah,
So there's an elderly, there's a gray-haired scientist who finds the orb, who
Yeah.
finds the materia,
yeah.
and he's scanning it. Um, and his what did you say? It was like his seventh grade.
His seventh grade, like some seventh grade teacher of his that apparently
It's
he
like,
had a crush on.
what? My seventh grade teacher, Miss blah blah blah. Why are you here in space? And why are you wearing a sexy toga?
Oh, here we go. His seventh grade geology teacher, Gina Marino.
Why are you here in space? And why are you wearing a sexy toga? And I'm like, yeah, I guess we all have a teacher like that, huh?
We all had that one teacher.
Yeah. And
It took me until I got to university before I finally had one, but
oh, I had ones pretty early on.
I had a thing. I had a thing for my digital media teacher.
Oh,
I can't even remember what her name was now, but anyway,
but this guy remembered.
this guy remembers.
And he goes over to she's like, oh, let me comb your hair and talk about that novel you're working on.
Yeah, a novel. She says she wants to hear all about some novel that he's working on. He's like, "Oh, you're gonna love it." I literally inserted myself. I literally made myself a self-insert character in it.
Speedy McWheels or something
Speedy
like that.
McWheels, yeah.
And she's like, ooh, tell me more. And when he touches her, she disappears and he turns to stone. And there's an alien in the distance who's like, yeah.
who's like,
And I'm like, that's a weird kink, tricking humans into turning themselves into stones.
that's his fetish, apparently.
Yeah, don't kink shame. So we yada 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 sometime in the future, and
We get a
Starfleet.
captain's log, which made me happy.
Oh yeah, we do, don't we?
Yeah, captain's log, stardate 58256.2. Genghis 4 is a remote planet which was believed to be uninhabited until indigenous silicate creatures called the Scrubble started turning Federation scientists into statues.
Yeah. So the Scrubble end up attempting to broker peace. That's going on in the background of this. There's a couple B plots between some other like scientists that want to study the orb or whatever.
Yeah, they have a they're aboard the USS Cerritos, and they seem to
Yeah.
have this like little rivalry going on with
The Scrubble.
with another ship, the USS Hood. It's a ship in the same like class as them.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, the Cerrito has a rivalry with the members of the other ship. Yeah.
Yeah.
And there's two reasons the ships are there. One, and the ship's captains interact with each other. And one of the points of conflict is the other ship's captain is very young, whereas the Cerritos captain is that older chick.
Yeah. Oh, it's sorry, not the USS Hood, the USS Carlsbad.
Carlsbad, right? Carlsbad. And what part of the peace that they're trying to broker between like the rock people and these other humanoids is dismantling the Starfleet research base on the planet. And so the Carlsbad has a few people on the surface dismantling the physical parts of the base. And when the Cerrito people show up, they're immediately kind of hostile with them. And they're like, what's the deal? Have these people heard of us?
By the way, the leader of the trio of scientists from the other ship, I don't know how, but they make cartoons hot.
Somehow they make cartoons hot, and I'm glad I'm not the only one who thought that. Especially like her attitude.
Yeah.
Because she's kind of like boss bitch.
Yeah.
Which I'm sure was helped in that regard.
Yep.
And she's like, we're here to work, not like fraternize and like fuck around. And it's like, whoa, wait, what are you guys talking about? It's like, oh, your reputation precedes you. You guys are kind of a joke.
Mm-hmm.
We're here to work. And they're working so hard dismantling this. Oh my God, I feel bad. I just watched the episode, but main character chick's name,
Mariner.
Mariner's like, she's very competitive. And she's like, well, we're going to work twice as hard. We're going to show them that we're not jokes. Come on, gang. And they go to grab all of, which apparently there are many of these fantasy materia orbs.
By the way, I love Ensign Mariner as a character. She is great. She is like simultaneously cynical, but also has plucky optimism at the same time.
Yeah. How do I describe that? It's like a healthy skepticism, but also is ambitious.
Yeah.
There we go. And so they begin picking up, but it's important not to touch these. I'm guessing if you touch the kind of like projection or the orb itself, it turns you to stone.
Yeah.
And it seemingly wants people to be turned to stone, like they're malevolent stones. And who's the first one that pops up? It's engineering, right? The cyborg guy.
Rutherford. Yeah.
Yeah, Rutherford. They're using like giant tongs, and they're wearing like special gloves so that they don't touch these orbs. And what was it? It was, fuck me, I just watched it, but I like I'm bad with names. I'm not the name person, folks. But basically, a scientist um, that he thinks of fondly appears and wants to do research and like run data by him. And they
Right.
were like, Rutherford, really? Like this is your highest fantasy? And it's like, what are you talking about? Of course. And she's saying things like, oh, I just finished the math, but can you check my numbers and stuff like that? And he's like, no, I have to think of, I can't remember what their unit leader, away team leader told them to think of.
I can't remember
He
either.
repeats it. I can't remember it either. And he avoids it easily enough. And then we see fucking or was Mariners last? I think Mariners was last because hers was because she was ripping into everybody else.
Yeah, because Boimler, who by the way is voiced,
Boimler's?
Boimler is voiced by Jack Quaid from The Boys.
Oh shit.
Yeah, he plays Huey.
Oh, that's cute. That's cool.
Yeah, there's an episode.
I didn't even notice.
There's an episode of Star Trek: Strange New Worlds called "Those Old Scientists," where Boimler and Mariner get like pulled through this time portal type thing, and they end up in live action, and it is actually like them who voice them playing them
and
in live action.
It's weird to them because in their reality, they're cartoons.
Yeah,
I've heard about that. Like I heard that's a pretty good episode.
It's a really good episode. If you were just gonna watch one random episode of Star Trek: Strange New Worlds, I would say watch that one.
Rad. I should check that out.
It's a really good show.
Boimler's is like some head of Starfleet shows up, and he's got like a
Jack Ransom shows up.
Oh, is it Jack Ransom?
Yeah, he shows up and is like, he's like, Boimler, the Borg are attacking. He shows up with this on this like motorcycle type thing. He's like, the Borg are attacking and we need you.
Hop on, man. It's time for us to kick ass. And also, you're captain now.
Yeah. And Mariner rips on him because she's like, seriously, even in your fantasy, you're like riding sidecar.
You're riding the sidecar in your fantasy, and he's like, "What?" So like, I'm meant to be a passenger,
Yeah,
or something like that. Like driving's like dangerous. I'm gonna leave that to the professionals or something.
yeah.
And I'm like, what is that? There's a lot to unravel there, and I like that kind of humor where just like they don't linger on a joke too much, but it lets the viewer think about it.
Yeah.
And he's about to go on, like he's about to actually like leave when Mariner stops him. And I was like, what are you doing, dude? And I find it funny that he was the only one that was actually like, unless somebody stopped them, was going to fall for it.
Right.
Because when Mariner shows up, hers is her girlfriend.
It's an ex-girlfriend of hers.
Sorry, ex-girlfriend. The blue chick, what are they?
Andorians.
I'm so bad. Andorian, yeah. The sexy blue chicks. And she's wearing like lingerie or like a swimsuit or something and is like being incredibly like suggestive.
Yeah.
And their wording like is like, oh, do you want like a no strings attached? Like, do you want to be my girlfriend? And it was like, oh, you want to be blah blah blah's girlfriend? And she's like, no, these are obviously like stupid, like fake fantasies that are being projected. And what was his name? Rutherford?
The cyborg guy? Yeah, Rutherford.
Yeah. He might be the magician of the
Oh, totally.
Totally. Because he's like, no, my fantasy is completely accurate. And the other two are like, oh yeah, these no, like I wouldn't like ask for that. And he's like, what? I got exactly what I wanted. And then she'll like pop up and be like, oh, look over this data I for any mistakes. And he'll be like, and like run away.
There's another episode, I think it's in season 3 actually, where the episode opens with them playing Klingon D&D basically.
I should watch through this. Like I haven't seen any bad episodes of it.
There was I can't remember the exact wording, so the joke's gonna kind of fall flat. But that scene like ends with Rutherford being like, oh, I do this or something, and the Klingon DM is like, oh, your blah blah failed, and Rutherford is just like, dang it. He just hangs his head. I'm not doing it justice.
I like wholesome characters like that.
I'm not doing it justice, even in the slightest, but it's a really funny episode.
And what ends up happening to the three?
So Lieutenant Steve Stevens, is the name I think is hilarious. He was like idolizes Jack Ransom. He's like looks up to him.
Mm-hmm.
Steve Stevens comes to the planet, and he's criticizing them for not getting rid of all the materia yet. And Mariner's like, oh, like we've only got like 5 left. Like it's not a big deal. We're almost.
And then
done.
she like slam dunks one.
Yeah,
and he's like, what the fuck are you doing? Like
he's like, watch the professionals work.
Like what are you doing? And she's like, oh, like, well, yeah, we're almost done or whatever. And he's like, you like, careful, they're fragile. And it's like, yeah, but they said, and they look up on the hill to the Carlsbad like crew.
Yeah.
And it's like, they said that they're going to like outwork us, and that like that Stevenson's a big dumb poo-poo head who never gets things done. And he's like, what? And it's like, yeah, that you're a joke, and like that we couldn't possibly like finish with like as good as they're doing. Oh, fine, I'll show them. And he pulls his sleeves up like a kid wearing an oversized jacket, so because you can't touch them, right?
Yeah.
And he's like, huh, I'll show them. And he picks one up, and he's like, yeah, slam dunk.
No, he picks 2 of them up.
Oh, does he do 2? Well,
yeah,
that's
he does
probably
2
why he fucked up.
And so he fucks up and knocks the entire like container over,
and then some of them break.
All of the materia orbs come tumbling out and break in half and release this like green gas. And then things start getting weird. Like
Mariner's like, wait. It'll just mean that like our fantasies will just be even stronger, though, right? So as long as we don't interact with them, we should be fine. And then a big old dragon flies by, but it is physical. Like it's not something that tricks them into touching. Like it grabs Steve Stevenson or Steve Stevenson.
Steve Stevens.
Steve Stevens. Well, 3rd time's the charm. By the arms, and with its mouth picks him up and then turns him to stone.
Yeah.
He falls on the ground and his arms break off, and everyone screams. When the Carlsbad,
hilariously at the end of the episode, we find out that he's alive. So I guess they can reverse the stone process somehow.
So it implies that they can reverse the petrification process somehow.
So at the end of the episode, he's alive but has like fake arms
because they're regrowing like arms with him. So he's got arms in these like braces and casts.
Yeah.
They go and hide in the cave, but the Carlsbad crew is there too, because they're like, what the fuck is all this green mist?
And the projections start getting really like strange. Like
there's a werewolf.
Yeah, her like hot Andorian girlfriend like turns into a werewolf version of her.
Well, the werewolf version of her kills the hot version of her.
Oh, right, yeah.
And like rips her in half. And I can't remember. One of them is like, I'm going to have to ask my therapist about what this means, or something about that. And everything's like very weird. And the crew noticed that. They're like, these aren't. Did you ever think about your girlfriend as a big, hot, sexy werewolf? And she's like, no. And they hide in the cave. Meanwhile, on the ship, the 2 captains of the 2 ships are arguing about who's going to take this this relic from the rock people, offering it as a sacred artifact from their planet. It's a little pyramid.
Yeah, so they're trying to broker. They're there because they're trying to
scientist chick is in this episode, right?
they're trying to broker peace between between the Scrubble, the Rock people, and the researchers, who they make a point of mentioning actually aren't, like, they're not Federation researchers. They're independent scientists, like, trying to do a science.
Trying to do a science, yeah.
And yeah, the Scrubble, like, want to, like, give this stone paperweight, basically,
Yeah.
as like a token of their a symbol of friendship or whatnot. But, like, neither Captain Freeman nor the captain of the other ship want it, and they keep arguing over who's going to take it. And the Scrubble are like, well, if somebody doesn't take it, then there'll be no peace. The deal's off. See.
And the whole, like, King's Dilemma or whatever. What if we cut it into 2 equal pieces, and you get one half and you get one half? And it's like, what? No, you're not cutting a sacred artifact in half.
You can't defile our sacred artifact.
Which ends up making sense why they're making such a big deal of the seemingly. It's very shittily cut. It doesn't look cool. It looks like a triangular rock.
Yeah.
The C plot is a cute green scientist girl.
Tendi.
Tendi.
Yeah.
She is going for her, like, full scientist.
Yeah, she wants to be a bridge officer.
Bridge officer, that's it.
Tendi and Rutherford actually have a very, like, cute relationship throughout the show.
I can see that.
They have this, like, will they or won't they thing going on.
I can see that.
But also on top of that, they're also just, like, best friends.
Oh. So what she's doing is before she can take her test to become a bridge officer, she has to serve under a mentor for some time. And she finds out it's this bird scientist guy.
It's Birdman, yeah. I can't remember what his name is.
It's Birdman McScientist.
Yeah.
And she doesn't seem too happy about that.
No.
And we find out he's not about, like, studying in academia. He's kind of like the cool mentor who's like, like, oh, like, don't worry about the rules. Like, what's most important is you got to learn to cut through the captain's bullshit. And when they're doing up their egos get in the way, you need to be able to, like, cut in when is appropriate and keep them in line.
Mm-hmm.
So she's encouraged to attend these meetings between the Scrubbles and the scientists and the 2 officers. The 2 captains, but the 2 captains and they keep cutting her off whenever she tries to interrupt. And then we cut back to the main crew, right? And they're hiding in the cave. And they find out, now that they're faced with death, that the Carlsbad crew actually thinks that the
Cerritos.
The Doritos crew. The Cerritos, yeah. The Cerritos is they're actually kind of known for being pretty cool and badass.
Yeah.
And they're like, no, we just wanted to show off and, like, outdo you in, like, something, because we guys heard you were, like, so cool and, like, you guys accomplished this and this. And they were like, what? And yeah, we heard that, like, Mariner is, like, takes no shit, and she, like, kicks down doors, and she does this, and, like, Rutherford's, like, on his way to be, he's this cool, like, half cyborg, like super engineer, and, like, but oh my god, I just forgot his name. Boimler. There we go. I put the L in the wrong spot. But Boimler, like, we thought you were, like, the sidekick. We thought you were, like, this little, like, robot drone that, like, makes jokes here and there. We didn't even know you were a person. And he's like, what? No, I'm not a robot. And, like, everyone laughs. He's like, okay, when you guys go and tell other people about this, you have to tell them I'm a person.
And Mariner is like, no, guys, like, when you tell everyone about us, you have to tell them.
Keep telling people that he's a little, like, cute robot that makes jokes.
Yeah.
And then they end up getting attacked they phaser the creature that's like attacking them, and they take a peek, and they're like, Mariner's like, guys, there's some weird shit going on out here.
I like the fact that there's a couple Klingon clowns with bat left hands.
So there are Klingon clowns, but their hands are bat lifts.
Yeah.
Because maybe we skimmed over it. It's loosely toying with their nightmares instead of their fantasies.
Yeah.
But she reaches back and she's like, is anybody's nightmare a werewolf dancing in a trilby? And then Boimler's like, did you ever fantasize about your ex wearing a trilby? And she's like, no, and she never did. And then they notice, they're taking real things from our memories because there's a basketball or something.
Yeah, and Mariner mentioned, she's like, wait, I did see a guy like in a trilby mansplaining something to like someone in 10 Forward.
And they were like, yeah, I'm not afraid of basketballs, but like a basketball ad or something like came on recently. And I was like, who the fuck still plays basketball? Or it was something like that.
Yeah.
Right. And they were like, okay, so they're not our fantasies or our fears. This is just our memories. And so they start doing scans, and there are weird signals going out to the crystals from deeper in the cave.
Yeah.
And inside the cave is a secret crystal Starfleet, like AI like database that is collecting all of the dreams and basically just the data. It's like the space Google. It's collecting all the data from their dreams, their conversations, their experiences, or whatever. Even though it's Starfleet tech, so the fantasy things aren't what they appear to be.
And what they figure out is that the Scrubble and the scientists on the planet they're in
cahoots.
They're in cahoots. And moreover, they're using Federation tech, which is weird because they mentioned earlier in the episode that these scientists aren't with the Federation.
Well, I know that Starfleet shares their technology with like other races, like it's almost like an uplifting like kind of thing.
Well, no, that's against the Prime Directive.
Even with spacefaring species?
Yeah, I guess if they're spacefaring at that point, then they can share technology. But yeah, if they're not, it's against the Prime Directive.
If they're not spacefaring yet, then you can't make contact or share technology. Tendi gets tired of the arguments, and she picks up which is funny because she doesn't know that what the ground crew is going through.
Yeah. No, she's just had enough.
The artifact.
She's just had enough of them.
Slams it on the desk and breaks it.
Yeah.
But when you know it, there's a little device inside.
Yeah, it's a recording device. So that's why they wanted one of the captains, to take this thing so they would have it in their quarters so they could potentially record classified information.
Mm-hmm. And we skipped over it, but there's a part where they were like, hey guys, ready for yourselves to have a cool badass story, to the Carlsbad crew. And like Mariner like breaks off like a weird giant crystal that seems to be able to block the signal of the orbs. And they like toss them to the Carlsbad crew, and it's like, let's go. And there's a big fight scene where they're beating up the Klingon clowns, and like Borg snake, like there's a Borg snake out there. But like this time it's wearing a trilby, like because it's mixing all the data together, until they beat them back enough that they're able to like calm and transport the hell out of there. And I think they end up like arresting, or like they're like, hey, you guys are up to no good. And they're like, oh man, I knew this was a bad idea. So yeah, they were just illegally collecting data.
Yeah. I guess that still goes on in the 24th century.
Yeah. Collecting data and selling it to I don't know, advertisers. Space advertisers. If it's anything like Futurama, There are space gas stations and space billboards. Oh man, this is the bad part of space. There's a bunch of like space hobos, and like there are space street lights. They go and like a lot of dumb things.
Space junkies like hunched
There are
over,
space junkies.
walking around carrying like armfuls of Haagen-Dazs.
Space Haagen-Dazs.
Hey, it's space. It's cold. It'd stay frozen.
Oh, that's right. Well, I think that was the episode of Lower Decks.
Yeah, because it ends with the bit that we already covered with them like talking about like the whole bit where it's like, no, when you like tell people about this, you have to keep saying that that Boimler is like a tiny little robot.
Oh, because the crews have like reconciled and like are like in the mess together.
Yeah.
And yeah, I think that's pretty much the summary of the episode there. Siege, you just watched a random episode of Star Trek Lower Decks. Would you tune in next week?
Oh, absolutely. I've watched all of this. I've watched all of this series now. Has a great finale, by the way.
Oh, damn. The rare great finale.
It has a great finale that pokes fun at multiverse stories, which I'm a big fan of multiverse shit. Always have been. And there's some really surprising cameos.
Oh.
Like cameos from characters I didn't expect to see.
Interesting.
From especially ones from a certain Star Trek series where the crew are known to wear blue jumpsuits and maybe led by someone who previously did some quantum leaping.
Fucking Scott Bakula. Always thought that would be a great vampire name.
Scott Bakula.
I actually really like that actor.
I like Scott Bakula too. I like Archer as a captain as well. Yeah, I like Enterprise, people. Come at me.
You know what? I haven't watched the whole thing, but when that came out and everyone was shitting on it, I was like, I don't know. I think this is fine. But maybe that's just contrarian, good old 20s contrarian Cal. Now in my 30s, I don't know. I don't have the energy to be contrarian anymore, or even have strong opinions about anything really. Except,
Oh, I still have contrarian energy going on.
you still got some contrarianism in you.
Not as much as I did, like say, like 15 years ago, but even at 40, no, I still got that like bit. I still got that like baseline contrarianism.
Good.
In my, it's just such an integral.
I know I used reverse psychology to trick the Discord into watching Joker 2.
Yeah, I still got to watch that.
I still maintain that like most people would hate it, but I don't know. I feel like I wasn't the target of the attacks of the symbolism in it.
Right.
So
I have a funny feeling I'm going to like the movie just based on everything that I've heard about it.
I have a weird feeling that you might too, actually. Oh man, fucking, and the acting's good in it too. And the acting was good in this. I definitely tune into Lower Decks. In fact, watching this like renewed my my interest in it. I had watched like 4 or 5 episodes of it, and then I got distracted and started watching something else. But no, I'm going back in.
Sweet.
This episode sold me.
Yeah,
recommend.
It's a really fun show. It's really you can tell the people behind it are really big Star Trek fans. It's
not trying to do anything to break the mold. Like there's no ego going in here. Like it's just it's fans of Star Trek making and what if it was like a comedy animated like show? And I think it does exactly what you would want like an animated comedy Star Trek to deliver.
Yeah, a Star Trek show where the main characters aren't the bridge crew.
Right?
And the ship that we're on is like one of the most unremarkable ships in all of the Federation. It's it's a great show. It's easy to watch too. Like I find it to
Yeah.
be a very easily digestible show.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So there you have it, folks. We did it. We finished Star Trunk Month 2, The Search for Boogaloo.
A Search for Boogaloo. And you know what we didn't do before we started recording this podcast? We didn't figure out what we were going to watch next.
She.
So live on the air, I guess I'll go to the Discord and just look at some Patreon submissions.
It's Patreonos time. See, if you become a Patreon, a patron, you can in real time can get us to watch things that you recommend.
Let's see.
Our only rules are no game shows or reality TV or documentaries.
Right, exactly.
Mm-hmm.
Let's do a Lewis pick.
Ooh. Don't
What?
try to stop us. We're doing a Lewis pick.
Doing a Lewis pick. What does he got? Okay. Tattooed teenage alien fighters from Beverly Hills.
Right.
Let's. You want to do it?
Okay, yeah.
Let's do it.
I've never even heard of this, but
I watched the intro for it, and it looks like supremely stupid in a very fun 90s kind of way. All right. Wait, what the fuck was the name of it again? Tattooed
teenage alien
fighters from Beverly
fighters.
Hills. It only lasted one season.
What? Say it ain't so.
Hey, the whole series is on archive.org in DVD quality.
Oh shit.
Really? I'll send you a link to that.
Thank you.
Just trying to figure out how many episodes it had. Wikipedia had 40. All right.
Oh dang. It's a big season 1.
All right. I'm going to hit screen share. Sharing the screen. So one random number between 1 and 40. And here we go.
No.
22 episodes. 22. The Ghost Warrior. Emperor Gorgonus sends the sorcerer to Earth disguised as Taurus in order to make a public appearance in a plot to lure out the Galactic Sentinels.
Sounds like as good an episode as any.
Those were words I just said.
Those were words. We got ghosts, we got Gorgonus, we got Emperor.
And we've got my favorite sign, Taurus. I have been in relationships with 4 Tauruses now in my life, and they've all been spectacular disasters. My ex-wife is a Taurus.
So what you're saying is, you don't believe in astrology, but
I don't
if
have
you're a betting man.
But at this point, if I see someone's sign is a Taurus in a dating app, I am swiping left.
Oh, is that all it takes?
Man, it's 4 Tauruses, and they've all been like horrendous relationships.
Was the Savannah chick was Georgia Savannah? I can't remember. Was the American girlfriend Taurus?
The stripper lady? No, she wasn't.
Well, there you go. So she broke the trend.
But the mom I dated last year was a Taurus.
Oh yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
So the
ex-wife, yeah.
And then the mom. What about the anime? What about the anime enthusiast?
No, I can't remember what her sign was.
Well, that just kind of fizzled. It's not like that was disastrous.
No, that was that relationship just kind of
Yeah,
ran its
wasn't
course.
didn't work. Yeah.
Yeah, just didn't work. I have no like ill feelings toward her or anything. But yeah, Taurus. No Tauruses
Well, there
here.
you go.
This is a no
But
Taurus zone.
what if they were cool, tattooed, thick, black chick,
Well,
and they were a Taurus? Would you still swipe left? Oh, I got I got him.
Does she like Star Trunk?
What if she's doing this in her profile picture?
Then, well, they say don't stick your dick in crazy, but
Damn it,
but
some people don't learn.
but some men are just born to play with fire.
born to be wild.
Well, that was that was episode 109 of the Lazor Comb podcast. If you want to support the show, go to patreon.com/lazorcomb, LAZORCOMB. Where starting at the $5 tier, you get a weekly Patreon exclusive podcast, the Super Lazor Comb Patreon Super Show. At the $10 tier, you get that. You get commentary tracks. You get to pick a show for us to review a random episode of on this very podcast. $20 tier, you not only get to pick the show, but you get to pick the episode. And a whole bunch of other goodies. So if you want to get in on that, go to patreon.com/lazorcomb. Join the Discord if you want to interact with us, link in the description. Also links to our Blue Sky and TikTok accounts.
Yeah, I don't do meta stuff anymore.
I'm still on Instagram, but
Right.
yeah, no, my Facebook is gone entirely.
Gone,
Never to return. And yeah, well, you know what will return though? Us. We'll be back next week where we're going to be talking about tattooed teenage alien fighters from Beverly Hills, baby.
and I usually don't shout out our other podcast, but we did just interview voice actor David Kay.
Yes, on the final episode of our our first podcast, as a matter of fact, Too Much Energon, the Beast Wars podcast.
151 episodes.
151.
Yeah, and I thought that he was a joy. It was insightful. It was good to talk with.
Yeah, totally.
So if you're a fan of Ratchet and Clank or Megatron from Beast Wars, boy, do we have an episode for you.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, episode 151 of Too Much Energon. Go and check that out. And well, we might be launching some other podcasts here in the near future, so keep an eye out for those. Until next time, I have been Commander Siege, one of your hosts.
And I'm Ensign Cal, your other host.
That was Star Trunk II, The Search for Boogaloo. Everyone, thanks for listening.
Did we find him? I don't know. You tell us.
Not yet. We're not going to find him until perhaps Star Trunk 3, The Last Denigration.
Star Trunk 3, The Last Humiliation.
All right, we'll catch you. We got to get out of here, so we'll catch you later, people.